Hello everybody, welcome back to learning the IGCSE curriculum with Omar. Today's video we're going to be discussing simultaneous equations. This topic includes two primary methods, which is the elimination method as well as the substitution method. So let's break them down together. Okay, so what are simultaneous equations? It is, simply put, when you have two or more equations in which you have two unknown variables. Now your job is going to be to find the value of these variables, where all of the equations you have, the value of the variables make the answers of each equation true at the same time. Now what does this mean? Okay, so as you can see here on the board, we have three different equations in which the outcomes for all of the questions are different. But one thing you want to keep note of is that all of these equations share the two same variables, which is a and b. Now, the values of a and b that you want to find should stay true to each equation. That means if you got, for example, a is 3 and b is 5, right? Sorry, not 5. It's going to be 2. 3 plus 2 is 5. So if you got these values in this question for a and b, 3 and 2, that means if you use 3 and 2 as your values for a and b in this equation, that means your answer should be ending up as 18. Just like that, if you use 3 and 2 in this equation, you should be getting your answer as -2. So the values of a and b should remain true to all equations so that you get the correct answers in the end. Okay, so let's start with the elimination method. This question here asks us to find the values of x and y. So let's do that. This question has two equations, 3x plus y equals 7 and x minus y equals 1. So in order to use the elimination method to solve this, what you want to do is that when you have these two equations, you can either add or subtract them together so that one of the variables get cancelled out, they get eliminated, so that it is easier to find the value of the variable that is left. So how do you do that? What you do in this case, okay, so as you can see here, notice this. If we add these equations, you can cancel out the y's, because if you add positive y with negative y, y minus y is what? It's 0. So you cancel them out. So what you're going to be left with is 3x plus x, which is 4x, equals to 7 plus 1, which is 8. We don't take y as a factor because it got cancelled out. So with that, we can find the value of x easily. So x is going to be what? 8 over 4. So that is 2, right? Now, since we have the value of x, that means we only have one variable left which is missing, which is y. So we can take this value and put it into either one of these equations to find the value of y. So that is going to be, let's use this equation because it's easier. Always opt for the equation that is easier to solve. Because if you use the value of the variable into the equation which is more complicated, you might just confuse yourself. So let's just go with the easy option. X is 2, so that means, okay, let's write it down first. X minus y is 1, right? X is 2, so 2 minus y is 1. So that means y is equals to, y is going to, okay, so 2 goes here, so it's -1. Negative y is -1, so y is 1. So there you go. The question asked us to find the values of x and y, and we found the values of x and y. Okay, let's use the elimination method in a second example. Once again, we want to find the values of x and y. In this question, where we have two equations given as 3x plus 2y equals to 7 and 5x minus 3y is equals to 37. Now in this equation, what you want to notice is that when you either add or subtract these two equations with each other, you will not get a term where they are like so that you can cancel them or eliminate them. Basically what that means is that you do not have common coefficients here. So like for example, if you add 2y with -3y, you're going to get -y. You cannot cancel them out so that you can then find the value of x, right? So that is why in this question, what we're going to do is that we're going to multiply both equations so that we get a common coefficient in them so that we can cancel them out. So what are we going to do? We're going to, okay, in this equation, we can multiply this one with 3 and multiply this one with 2, right? Because 2 times negative 3y is negative 6y, and 3 times 2y is 6y. So 6y and negative 6y, we can cancel them. So let's do that. It's going to be, we're going to get what? 9x plus 6y is equals to 21. And then we're going to get 10x minus 6y, which is equals to 74, if I'm not wrong, right? Okay, now in this, we're going to cancel these, right? Then we're going to be left with 9x is equals to 21 and 10x is equals to 74, right? Now what we're going to do is we're going to add them, right? Because what did we do here? We added them. Plus 6y plus negative 6y is 0. So just like that, we're going to continue the same trend. We're going to add these. So what are we going to get? We're going to get 19x, which is equals to 21 plus 74 is what? It is going to be 95. So x is equals to 95 over 19, which is meaning that x is going to be I think it's 5, if I'm not wrong, sorry. So yeah, now we have found the value of x. Okay, now since we have the value of x, we're gonna use this into one of these equations, but once again, like I told, we're gonna use it in a simpler question because then it's easier to find the value of your missing variable. So we're gonna substitute this into this equation so that we can find the value of y. So that is what it is going to be. 3x is 5, so 5 is equals to 2y. Oops, sorry, it's not equal yet. It's plus 2y equals to 7, which is what? It's 15 plus 2y is equals to 7, and 2y is equals to 15 goes here, so it's negative 8. So that means y is negative 4. So the values we got for x and y is negative 4 and 5. Now what you want to do is you don't want to stop here. You don't want to be overconfident and be like, okay, I found the values of x and y, I'm going to stop here. What you want to do is double check if your answers are correct. How are you going to do this? You're going to substitute these two values into the other equation you have so that you can fact check if the answer you end up with is 37 in fact. So let's do that. Okay, so here are the values given for x and y, 5 and negative 4, and we're going to use them in this equation. So that is going to be 5 bracket 5 minus 3 bracket negative 4, which is equals to 37. Now to solve this is going to be 5 times 5, 25. Negative 3 times negative 4 is positive 12 equals to 37. So what is 25 plus 12? It is 37. So that means the value we got for x and y, which is 5 and negative 4, are correct. Now let's move on to the substitution method. Now this question, once again, it says to find the values of x and y. And the question we have, it has two equations, which is x minus 2y is equals to 8 and x plus y is equals to 5. Now in the substitution method, what you do is you make in one of the equations one of the variables the subject. So in this question, let's take this one because it is the simpler one. So let's make in this, you can make either one of them the subject. Let's make x the subject. So if x is the subject, that would be x is equals to 5 minus y, right? Now after you make one in one of the equations one variable the subject, you can take that equation and then substitute the value of x into the other equation you have. So if x is equals to 5 minus y, you can take 5 minus y and then substitute it into this equation so that you can find the value of y and then hence find the value of x. So if x is equal to 5 minus y, in this case it will be 5 minus y minus 2y is 8, right? So let's solve this now. 5 minus y minus 2y is what? 5 minus 3y, right? Is equals to 8. So that means minus 3y is equals to 8 minus 5, which is 3. So that means, what is y? Y is equal to -1, right? So there you have it. That's how we found the value of y. We took the value of x, put it into the form of y, and then substituted it into the first equation, and then got the answer. Now, since we have the value of y, you can substitute this answer into either one of these equations and then find your x. So let's once again take the simpler equation and then solve for x. So y is -1, right? So that means x minus 1 is equals to 5. So that means x is equals to 5 plus 1, which means x is 6. So that means your x is equals to 6 and our y is equals to -1. That is how you use the substitution method. Okay guys, so those were the two most commonly used methods in simultaneous equations. It involves the elimination method as well as the substitution method. If you guys have any further doubts involving this topic, please feel free to let me know in the comment section below and we'll clear your doubts up real quick. Until then, make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Until next time.